It sucked. Not this. Power Rangers. It sucked. I think this should be a surprise to no one. A lot of people were like, "Oh man, review the Power Rangers. When are you going to review Power Rangers?" And then I tweeted out that I had watched it when it came out on the Redbox. People were like, "Oh man, review when?" And it's like, oh, no. I mean, really, what were you expecting? I mean, you could tell from the advertisement what kind of movie this was going to be. I could tell. I had a few naysayers being like, "Give it a chance, give it a chance, give it a chance." It's like, no, like, marketing exists for a reason. Like, marketing exists to tell you what you're about to be in for. And what the marketing for this told me was I was going to be in for a drab, uninspired, somewhat edgy remake of a campy superhero Japanese bastardized TV show. And that's exactly what I got. It was drab, it was boring, it was somewhat edgy, trying to be a little darker and grittier, and it was cynical and whatever. I don't fucking know. And aesthetically, I still hate this movie. That was like one of my first big things about this was, man, the Power Rangers look like shit. And like I'm all for reinvention. I love seeing things I love retooled into something new that I can love. But I also want these new things to oh man, that was a really bad idea, chugging that. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Whatever. Still more dignified than this fucking movie. I can't even say this movie was better than what I was expecting because, like, when I saw the trailers, I had rock bottom expectations. I'm like, oh, this is going to be garbage. It's going to be this cheap, wannabe Chronicle bullshit mixed with like a CW angsty teenage show and some things that vaguely resemble the Power Rangers. Gotcha. And then I started seeing all the reviews, and like they were fairly like mixed to positive. Like, it's okay, it's actually really good, blah blah blah. And it was like that kind of spectrum. Like Movie Bob said it was shit, but like, yeah, Movie Bob's a harsher critic than most, and maybe I wouldn't agree with him. I agree with him. It was garbage. But yeah, so because of all the like the somewhat positive reaction I was seeing to this movie, they took it from like down here to like, oh, maybe it's like up here then. Like, maybe it's gonna be like a 5 or 6. And it ended up being like here because it's more like a 4 or a 3, and it's just. So I ended up raising my expectations based on the words of other fucking people, and let's fucking watch the crappy movie. But yeah, aesthetically, I still hate the Rangers. I think they look like garbage. I think they, I think the big problem isn't it's not the fact that they're armored or that their suits are all textured and all that shit that every comic book movie does now. But it is that these new designs completely stripped the Rangers of their iconography. Because Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has a very strong iconography. Just as strong as Batman, just as strong as Superman, just as strong as Spider-Man. And if you don't nail that iconography, then you don't really nail the look of the character. Because, Batman's been through multiple iterations. You have, the original 66 Adam West Batman. You got, Michael Keaton's, Black Rubber, Batman. You have Batman the Animated Series. You have Christopher Nolan's Batman. You have the current, I forgot his name. He's not a Baldwin. He's Matt Damon and... God damn it, he's the Matt Damon buddy guy. Oh, fuck. Ben Affleck. There we go. You had the Ben Affleck Batman. Wow. I'm not drunk. I just cracked this open, for the record. I just did that for dramatic effect. Going for that whole, oh, this movie drove me to drink thing. But, yeah, like the Ben Affleck Batman. Like, you look at that full spectrum of Batmans, all of them look completely different, but the iconography is still intact. You know, cape, you know, black cape, pointed ears, symbol of a bat, you know, gray to black suit, you know, there's a, like I said, there's an iconography there, and these new outfits completely strip the Rangers of their iconography. You know, and you know, we don't get like the diamond shapes. You get like something that vaguely looks like a diamond, kind of on the chest that glows. So even like the one thing that they actually tried to like lean towards iconography, they couldn't even get that right, because it's still not really a diamond. It's more like a kind of like this weird kind of like oval at the top, and then kind of points down. It's some weird bullshit. Looks closer to the fucking Superman symbol than a fucking diamond. Like the white gloves aren't there, and you know they didn't even need to be gloves. But like the suits are just so busy that like, because you got like all this silver shit going on, all this glowy shit, and it's just like I said, like all of that going on strips the Rangers of their iconography, and it just makes like it doesn't feel like Power Rangers, especially doesn't feel like Mighty Morphin. Like, yeah, grab a Ranger out of that lineup, just be like, okay, Blue Ranger, and just show that, like, divorce from the rest of the Rangers, pull that Blue Ranger out and just show him to someone who knows of Power Rangers, and have them be like, who's that guy? And you just kind of look at it and go, Blue Beetle? No. Blue Guyver? No. Blue Iron Man? No. Who is he? The Blue Ranger? Like Power Rangers. Like is this from like a season I've never seen? Oh, that's Mighty Morphin. I know Mighty Morphin. And you, sir, are no Mighty Morphin. You know, it's just, they fucking ruined the iconography there. And it's not just with the Rangers. Like, the Zords are overly complicated, fucking Michael Bay-esque bullshit. The fucking Megazord itself. One of the, like, okay. I'm not a big fan of the more modern Megazords from like the current seasons of Power Rangers. Not because I didn't grow up with them, but because they're not as striking of designs. Because they're designed to be toys that connect together, and they put on a whole bunch of attachments, and it loses that, like, you know, it never gets a chance to gain its own iconography. You know, to me, like, you look at like the original Megazord, it looks awesome. You look at the original Thunder Zord, Zeo Zord, Super Zeo Zords, even the Turbo Zord, which is kind of gay. Still, you know, you go on to like Lightspeed and a lot of these other ones. For like several, like for like a decade of Power Rangers, these Zords had a sense of iconography to them, and you know, like, and I would say like the most iconic, the most striking. Well, honestly, I'd say it's the Thunder Zord, but second to that would be the Megazord. It is visually one of the most interesting mechs. You know, it has that whole appeal of it's multiple robots put together, and you can clearly see that within its design. And it's such a cool fucking mech. And they ruin that. Like, it looks like the Megazord in this movie looks nothing like the classic Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I think it's kind of a fucking shame. Because, once again, you know, iconography. And I'm not asking for it to be like a one-to-one translation. There's plenty of fan art you can look up where people have done, like, gritty, more realistic interpretations of the Megazord. They look fucking rad. They look rad as shit, and they still look like the goddamn Megazord. And here that they didn't even try. Like, say what you want about fucking Michael Bay's Transformer films. Those, I can look at those and go, oh, yeah, that's Optimus Prime. I see that. Like, the fucking Bay Turtles, for like as big and hulking as they are, I can clearly look at one and go, yeah, that's Leonardo. that's, that's Donatello, that's Michelangelo, that's Raphael. Like, I could clearly see, like, how they were trying to, like, boost their personalities through their attire, And with this, no, like, the Megazord looks like absolute garbage. Rita Repulsa looks nothing like her original character. I know they were going with this whole she was the former Green Ranger thing, and that's actually like a really cool way to take this. But the fact that she has like this fractured, like Green Ranger-esque armor, like because she's not even wearing Green Ranger armor. Like she creates like this own unique armor whenever she, like, I don't know, eats a bunch of gold because that somehow revives her. I don't know. The movie doesn't even fucking try to explain this bullshit. And you have like Goldar. Goldar, one like a really iconic villain from the series. A guy with a lot of personality, has absolutely no personality in this movie. It's really sad. Like he doesn't say anything. He doesn't have a face. He doesn't emote. He's this big gold lumbering goopy fucking piece of shit. But yeah, like, and that's just like the aesthetic shit. Yeah, I spent, 12 minutes talking about just the aesthetic elements of this fucking movie. I would say, like, the biggest sin in this movie, because, like, all these things I could have forgiven if the movie wasn't so goddamn boring. Because the first act of this film is long as shit. It is over 50 minutes long. And when I'm talking about, like, the first act, I'm talking about, this takes up the introduction of the Rangers, like getting to know them and their personalities and blah 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 blah, and up to them getting the coins and like their Billy's mother's van gets hit by a train. Which that train thing, like her van getting wrecked, never addressed again. You'd think she'd be a little pissed off about that. My mother would fucking kill me. Just to toss that one out there. I don't think Billy's family is rich. So I'm pretty sure they'd be pissed if their shitty minivan got fucking wrecked. So yeah. Long as fuck first act to get to know our characters. And it's just, oh my god, I don't care. These characters aren't that interesting. Like, Billy out of the... Because within that first act, they don't even introduce all 5 Rangers. Like you get to see all 5 of them. We don't even get Zack and Trini's name until the second act. And then, like Jason's like, oh, like he's kind of this mischievous delinquent, but he's not really a delinquent. He's just really more on the mischievous side and jokey and ha 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 and shit got out of hand, and now he's under house arrest. Kimberly's now hated by like the mean girls, and she has that scene where she like cuts her hair off, and it's like, okay, like the emotional I'm gonna cut my hair off as a sign of rebellion thing only works after you have established this character. You don't start your movie off with that. Like, our introduction to this character is her after having some girls be mean to her. Because, the popular girls are rejecting her. And, yeah, like, you can't have that scene that early in the movie. Like, I get it, like, she was the popular girl, but now she's the rebellious girl. It's all visual shorthand, but it's poorly executed visual shorthand. And it's not actually character development, you're just showing us, okay, this is our character, and it wasn't earned. Like something as simple as a character angrily cutting their hair off wasn't earned in this movie. And that goes to say a lot about just how shoddily this film was put the fucking together. Zack was actually a pretty compelling Ranger. Too bad we barely got to spend any time with him. The fact that it's like, oh, like, he's a kind of cool, snarky, cool guy, but really, he's actually like a really nice guy who like takes care of his mother and who's dying, and he acknowledges like she's going to die, and he's basically skipping school to spend every last little minute he can with his mother until she dies. Like, one of the best moments of the movie is when they're having that campfire scene, and he goes, "My mom's the best woman in the world," or "best mom in the world," and you can tell he's a man who loves his mom. And I felt like there was so much more to his character, but the film didn't want to focus on him. They wanted to focus on I guess Jason and fucking Kimberly, and they were far less interesting characters, and Billy to a lesser extent. Uh, Speaking of Billy, they do the whole, like, he has Asperger's thing, or, like, he's on the spectrum. And, like, that's cool. That's cool, like, to see, like, a superhero with, like, autism, or on the autism spectrum. That's cool. We haven't had that in a film. But the problem is, well, one, I thought, like, the line delivery was really clunky in that scene, but I immediately had to, like, recalibrate. I'm like, well, no, because he's supposed to be on the spectrum, so of course he's delivering this in the most straightforward, matter-of-factly way possible. Okay, forgiven. That's cool. But then later in the film, once he gets his powers, he doesn't act like he's on the spectrum anymore. Prior to that, he does, and the film never addresses that he's no longer on the spectrum, so you don't actually have a superhero on the spectrum. You have a superhero who is cured of his spectrumism by gaining his superhero powers. Because, like, he's still a little awkward because it's kind of his personality, but he's way more confident, he's way more chill, he's way more, like, aware of things, and he isn't anywhere near as awkward as he's portrayed in the beginning of the film. He doesn't even have, like, little moments where, like, he's lining shit up like he does at the beginning of the movie. So, yeah, that was a complete waste of a character and an arc, and, that didn't go anywhere. Like, I feel like they just tossed it in, and it's like, look, we have a character on the spectrum, look how fucking progressive we are. And that's an interesting direction to go with Billy. But basically having his powers heal his autism is way less interesting. I think it would have been better if you just kept him with that. Like, yeah, he can still have super strength and all his other bullshit, but just still keep that awkwardness to his character, and they kind of ruined that. Something else they also ruined, Trini. Now, I'm not saying it's because, like, oh, they completely changed Trini. They show her doing, like, some yoga shit and stuff, so she seems like a little bit wiser than the rest. But, my big issue with Trini in this film is the big thing that they advertise. There's gonna be a gay ranger. Not only do we have our first autistic superhero, we're gonna have our first gay superhero. Oh my god! So progressive! Tumblr, cheer for us! We're so progressive! And then they don't even follow through on that. Even though they advertised it before this movie was coming out, they didn't even follow through on that concept. Because the Yellow Ranger, she has, like, the campfire scene I mentioned. And, like, she was talking about, like, her parents didn't understand her, she had a lot of issues, and, like, Zach goes, boyfriend problems? And she's like, yeah, boyfriend problems. And he goes, girlfriend problems? And she just kind of looks at him, and then she just starts talking about how, like, her parents don't understand her, won't let her be herself, and always trying to, like, shape her as an individual. And that's great for her character. But the fact that the movie felt the need to tiptoe around the fact that she's gay, I fucking hate. Because as far as I'm concerned, within the context of the film, not the marketing, but the film itself, she is not gay. Someone interpreted her either as gay or bisexual or something. And, like, that could have been a really good character for, like, she's exploring her sexuality. Because, yeah, that's a teenager thing. Like, you get older and you start going, maybe I like dick. I mean, I've never tried dick. Maybe I like dick. Or I guess if you're a girl, I wonder what puss tastes like. You have, like, it's, for a lot of people, you end up having those moments, start shedding, the social norms and find yourself as an individual. And I feel like that's what the movie was going for, but it completely just stumbled and fell on it because it didn't want to commit to having a gay ranger, and that's really shitty. What's wrong with a gay ranger? Why can't we have that? And yeah, that bugged me. That I didn't care for. Man, like, I would say, like, the biggest sin of this movie, though, is it's just fucking boring. As a person who loves Power Rangers and think, like the Power Ranger shit of this movie is only, like, the last 15 maybe 20 minutes. It's not 20 minutes, trust me. There's no way in hell that lasted 20 minutes. But like around, I'd say like probably the last 15 minutes is Power Ranger-y stuff. Like them in the suits, them kicking the shit out of putties, and oh fuck Goldar, let's get in the Zords, and let's fight him with the Zords, and let's form Megazord, let's kick his ass. You know, there's all that, and like, and why is that only like the last 15 minutes? And I know there's a lot of people who would argue, it's like, well, it's to develop the characters and explore the characters and focus on the I love character exploration. They can be Power Rangers and still explore the character. Like, and it's not even like, you know, the exploration of the characters was really that well handled in the beginning of the film. It's not like they did anything. This isn't like Batman Begins, where like the first half of the movie is like, you know, Bruce Wayne's parents die, and like he almost kills Joe Chill, and then he like, you know, has to like, you know, figure out what the fuck he's doing with his life. So he goes on this far-flung fucking Eastern adventure where he learns kung fu from people and becomes an awesome-ass ninja, and then comes back to Gotham and, you know, develops the bat suit, cements himself as the Batman. See, that's another movie with a really long first act. But that first act is showing us the development of his character and really getting us in his headspace. And they never do this with any of the Rangers. You know, it's just like it's the CW version. It's like the CW version of the Power Rangers. And that to me is like the least interesting fucking thing you can do with the Power Rangers. I mean, yeah, like Arrow works to be all gritty and even though Oliver Queen should be more jovial and lighthearted and whatnot, but let's not focus on that. You know, for their interpretation of Arrow, I think that works. You know, they're going for a more Batman thing, and Arrow is, you know, the Green Arrow is more of a Batman-esque villain. The Power Rangers are color-coded, silly fucking characters. You know, they have like armor, they have like fucking, you know, colored suits and big robots, and they form into a bigger robot and they fight a big monster, and that's the Power Rangers. A Power Rangers movie should be fun as fuck, and this movie was boring as shit. And like, it couldn't even live up to the to the accolades of the first Power Ranger movie. And like, the first Power Ranger movie isn't like the first Ninja Turtle movie. Like, I will pedestalize the first Ninja Turtle movie as the first truly great comic book movie, flawless in its execution. But Power Rangers, the first movie, it's serviceable. It's a fun, goofy, cheesy flick for a fun, goofy, cheesy franchise. And I would much rather, like, I could watch Power Rangers, the first movie, a bajillion fucking times and still be entertained. Either by, like, the really bad CGI, or some of the cheesy line deliveries, or just Ivan Ooze, who's just the most delightful villain in Power Rangers history. He's great. He's awesome. Like, and that's not a good movie. It isn't. I'm going to say it right now. Power Rangers, the movie, is not, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, is not a good movie. But it's still really entertaining, and I have a blast watching it. Turbo, a Power Rangers movie? Same deal, pretty much. Like, not a good movie. In fact, actually, no, hold up. Turbo, a Power Rangers movie is fucking terrible. It's even worse because it fits into the continuity of the series, and you have to, like, watch that to bridge Zeo and Turbo, and it fucking sucks, and it's terrible, and I hate it. But it's still more entertaining than this movie. And like I said, I hate Turbo. I can't even muster hate for this movie. Like this movie is just so drab, so middle of the road, so safe, so predictable and boring and ugh. Like, there's nothing to be. I can't even be angry at. Like this is exactly like whenever you picture Hollywood executives are going to try and make a Power Ranger movie that has broad mass appeal. This is what you fucking get. I wish we could have gotten Max Landis' script, because Max Landis, of Chronicle fame, as well as The Death and Return of Superman and Wrestling Isn't Wrestling. He's a really cool guy. Go look him up. Max Landis is the shit. But yeah, he wrote Chronicle, and Chronicle is fucking amazing. And then they hired him to write a Power Rangers script. His script was way too charming and interesting and a little too outside the box, so they punted his ass and then had someone come in to just write a knockoff of Chronicle, because clearly they hired the Chronicle writer to just write a knockoff of Chronicle, but with Power Rangers. And we ended up with a really just... like, it's such a bad movie. I don't even know, like, really what else to say about this movie other than it's bad. It's bad, it's uninteresting, it's so middle of the road. I really feel like I've covered all my talking points, but I know there's more to bitch about with this film. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe that's the problem. Like, I don't... like, the Transformers movies, like, I have ire for. I hate them. I think they're terrible fucking movies. I'm not even, like, a really big... I didn't grow up with Transformers. I grew up with fucking Beast Wars. I didn't watch Transformers until I was a fucking grown-ass man. And, like, the Transformers movies are fucking offensive to me on every goddamn level. But at least, like I said, they are, one, effective toy commercials, and two, they evoke an emotion from me. Power Rangers, though I'm speaking, very broadly about, like, I'm very verbose about this on this topic right now because I'm in front of a camera, but I don't feel anything. I don't feel anger. I don't feel joy. I don't feel anything for this movie. It just washed over me. Like a fucking humid Florida breeze. Just, it's like, oh, that wasn't pleasant at all. And you just gotta move on with your life. It doesn't stick with you. You don't remember it. It's just... I'm not gonna remember this movie in a fucking week from now. Like, I'm really glad I'm recording this now, because if I had waited any longer, I probably wouldn't remember shit. You know... Like I said, like, this movie couldn't even live up to being a goddamn toy commercial. It was so focused on angsty teen bullshit and, like, trying to develop real-life characters and blah, 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 and just... It fails. It fails! How do you suck at being a toy commercial? Like, you didn't even suck at being a toy commercial. You sucked at being a CW show. You're not even a good CW show, because at least in an hour, I get to see the fucking Green Arrow kick the shit out of somebody. Or I get to watch the Flash kick the shit out of somebody. The Flash should have been like the model that they base this off of. You know, it's really charming. It has a lot of heart to it. It really does embrace its kind of sillier comic booky elements. And here I would say embrace. This movie should have embraced its sillier, fucking Sentai elements, and just go with it. But instead, it just, it had to. I don't know what the hell they were going for with this movie. And I'm sure a lot of people will say, like, well, like, the Power Rangers stuff had to be saved for budget and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fucking just... There's a lot of things they didn't have to do in this movie. Like, Goldar didn't have to be a big CGI glooping monster. He could have been a guy in a suit. The Megazord even could have been a guy in a suit with some CGI accents to it. Fuck. Like, the mere fact that, like Pacific Rim had the budget to create badass mech versus monster fights on the budget it had, but this movie couldn't. And it didn't even have to create sets and as many costumes and create this whole unique world. No, it's fucking set in our world. Like, there's no reason this movie had to be what it ended up being. I don't know how the fuck it cost so goddamn much. There's not even that much. Hold on, I'm gonna look up the budget on this movie, because I actually don't know this. Power Rangers 2017. Okay, we're gonna look up the budget on this, because I really need to. I'm not cutting any of this shit out. Fuck that. That's for losers. Those are for people who are afraid of their flaws and hide them behind editing. Okay, so the budget to this Wow, 100 million, 100 million. That's a pretty low budget, honestly, for like a superhero movie type thing. Like even Man of Steel had like I think 150 or 120 million. That's actually kind of low. But let's see, Pacific Rim. Okay, and what was the budget on Pacific Rim? Oh wow, 190 million. Okay, yeah, that's a huge fucking margin right there. I don't know how the hell this movie got less money to work with. Ah, God, man, fucking Pacific Rim made some bank too. Like it definitely made its budget back, and Power Rangers did not. But then again, if they had made a fun movie, they probably would have had their fucking budget back. If they had made just a big bombastic, giant robots and guys in suits fighting robots and shit, and they made something that appealed to Power Ranger fans, they would have had like a fucking hit on their hands. But they didn't. You know, they name drop a couple of things here and there, like the Zeo crystal. That's really cool. But who gives a shit? I hate this. I don't even hate. I mean, I hate this movie, but I passively hate this movie. Like, it's not even like I hate the fucking Bayformer films. Yes, I'm like, man, I hate that movie. I can't even muster the anger to be like, man, fuck that movie. No, I'm just like, man, fuck that movie. That sucked. Can't even be angry. God damn it. Oh, sorry. Review over. Xeon, out.